Alright, let's do it.
I'm ready.
Chapter 1. Where are they? That was the primary thought going through my head. They should be here by now. They being Mark and Sean. I glanced upward towards the clock. 7:45. They're usually here by now. We were going to arrive early so that we could study for our language arts test together, but now it doesn't appear like we'll have time for that. Then I felt a hand abruptly grab onto my shoulder, which was then followed by a loud
Boo!
I lurched forward and tumbled off my chair. I turned around and saw Sean grinning behind me.
I'm the ghost of Miss Fletcher, here to give you a test from beyond the grave.
He said it in a wavy ghost. He said it in a wavy voice, trying to make it appear like that of a ghost. I quickly stood up and smacked him right in the arm. You are a butt. He began laughing and laughing. I then quickly remembered my anger. Where have you been? We have to study for our test. We were reading a biography that was written like 1,000,000 years ago. It had some really outlandish vocabulary that I could barely even comprehend. I needed to study or else I'd fail.
I got here a little late, so what? We can start now. Where's Mark?
I have no clue where the crap Mark is. This is stupendous. It is 7:50 and school starts in 5 minutes. There's no more time to study. I was going to fail that test. I emitted a deep groan. Then, to my surprise, Mark came sprinting through the door of the library and directly towards us. He didn't have a grin like Sean did on his arrival.
Guys, I'm so sorry. There was a lot of traffic, and I couldn't make it here on time. But we can still study, right?
His apology was cut off by the bell. Ring! It doesn't matter now. Come with me and Sean to class.
I can't. I have to check out a book from the library real quick. I'll be in class soon. Cover me with Miss Harborin, okay?
He said it in a pleading tone. I looked at him. I was really angry with him, but I would have to let that anger pass. Fine. I then spun around, and Sean and I began our commute towards our first period class. Unfortunately, during our commute to Mrs. Harborin, I was stopped in a hallway. His arm grabbed my shoulder, and as I was quickly walking, I turned around to see Richard with a big frown on his face. I turned to Sean. Why don't you go ahead real quick? Sean looked at me confused.
But we're gonna be late!
I looked at him angrily. Just go ahead. I'll catch up later. Sean shook his head and kept on his travels. The hell do you want? Richard looked at me nervously.
I'm really nervous, dude. What if something happens to us? Like, what if they come?
I sighed. They aren't gonna come, Richard. You already.
I wonder if Richard's nervous.
A little bit. Acting 101.
They aren't gonna come, Richard. You are just paranoid, and if they did, it would be for you, not me. This is your fault. Richard shook his head.
Give up the act already and man up. We know it was your fault.
He turned and walked away in anger. I stared at him for a moment, watching him walk away. Then I snapped back into reality. I turned and ran back to catch up with Sean. As I walked through the door of the classroom, I felt my heart sink. At the front of the classroom is a large whiteboard. On the board, in red marker, it said, "Pop quiz today." I gasped. My heart began beating rapidly. I wasn't ready for a math quiz, especially when I didn't study for. I looked over at Sean, and he seemed to have about the same expression as I did.
Sean, Alex, sit down. You're blocking the doorway.
It was Mrs. Harborin, who was supposed to be beyond tubular, who said that.
Really?
I realized.
I thought I was
Roll
on
it,
the
roll
rolls.
it, roll
God
it.
damn it.
Roll it.
I realized that we were standing in the doorway of the classroom like fools. We slowly walked towards our seats, and we sat down. We were both totally stunned at this change of events. The late bell went off. Ring! Mark was late. He was going to have less time to take the quiz. That has got to completely suck for him. I hadn't covered for Mark, but the fact that today was a quiz, I didn't think the teacher would want to hear it. Then I heard the voice of Mrs. Vanderin come on the loudspeaker.
Hello, everyone. Please stand for our Pledge of Allegiance. I stood in there's no quotation mark. So for the rest of the book, it's just Miss Vanderlyn talking. Game theory approved. That was great.
I stood
All right,
and quietly
you take
put
over
my
narration
left...
now. Cause you...
Hold on. I stood and quietly put my left hand on my heart. I looked up at the flag on the wall, and we all spoke together in harmony. All right, let's in harmony. I pledge allegiance to the man who fought for this land, to the freedoms in which we were given, to the great country in which we are lucky enough to live in.
Why did you write your
We
own pledge?
pledge you.
What is this? The pledge of North Korea?
This is so weird. And I forgot you wrote your own pledge.
And then we all went
What
silent
nation
and
do they
sat
live in?
down. I don't know. I think it's made up.
I thought it was America.
Clearly, it's some sort of dictatorial regime, because that's not very good. The few freedoms which we were given, we can breathe and live, and that's it.
And then we all went silent and sat down. She began going over
That's
the
creepy.
daily announcements, but I wasn't even paying attention to them. I was trying my best to relay to my brain all the information I had gained from this math class. Did the tangent of a circle intersect 1 or 2 points of the circle? What is the equation for the area of a circle? Was it pi times the radius squared or pi squared times the radius? I couldn't remember everything, but I hoped to remember enough to at least pass the test. If I failed, my grade might get moved down to a D, and my parents would kill me if that happened. I just need to focus and not stress. Then the announcement stopped, and Mrs. Harberin stood at the front of the class.
Now, class, I know you are probably bummed out that we have a pop quiz today, but trust me when I say it should be easy. As long as you paid attention in class, you should be golden.
That speech didn't make me feel any better. The last few days I've had another thing on my mind. But I knew I had to take the test, so I began filling out answers immediately when I got it. I was now on question 20. It was a 30-question quiz, so I was definitely going to finish. The only thing that was going through my head was where Mark was. It was about halfway through the period, and he still wasn't here. I was getting worried, but right now I had to concentrate on my test. Draw the incenter of this triangle. What was the incenter again? Wasn't that the intersection of the perpendicular bisectors of the sides of a triangle? Or was that the centroid? I wasn't sure. I had to draw something. I tried racking my brain to remember what the teacher said. I couldn't quite remember. The stress of trying to remember.
How many times does remember used in this sentence? Or at least this paragraph, 20, right? Like,
I tried racking my brain to remember what the teacher said. I couldn't quite remember. The stress of trying to remember was killing me.
man, I remember those times.
I wish I had paid attention in class, but sometimes it is hard to pay attention when there are things more important than the incenter of a triangle on your mind. I know, right? What could be more important than that? I tried to think, but my mind began to trail. The belt buckle flew.
Just trail. Whatever that means.
The belt buckle flew through the air at me. The statue fell to the ground and shattered. The one lone stray bullet. No, Alex, you need to concentrate on the quiz.
What the heck?
Wait a minute, what?
Wait a minute, is that foreshadowing?
Yeah, but it's not even foreshadowing. It's just like a weird, that's so Raven, like flashback to the future, and then like back to reality. Like
I love the foreshadowing in this. I love how it's just like, it's our fault. Where'd they come? Bullets.
It's just like, I want this book to be like a TV show, but in the middle of that scene, the That's So Raven, like, That's So Raven theme song plays, and then we get back to the original show. Like, nothing happened.
This is, that was the main thought running through my head or whatever. That was the primary thought running through my head.
It said it a second time, too. It said one of the primary thought going through my head was where Mark was. That's all he cares about.
Rehashing stuff at this point.
Okay. I drew the perpendicular bisectors and I marked their intersection point. Now it was on to question 21. Write a proof to prove that your point is the incenter of the triangle. A proof This test just keeps getting better and better. I had to stop stressing and finish the test. I need to answer all the questions at the very least. Then, something rather odd happened. The noise that said the speakers are being turned on sounded. What announcement could she possibly make in the middle of first period?
I need all the staff in the area to be brought here to this room. If they're trying anything, I want them shot with no hesitation.
The voice was not the one of the receptionist I was used to hearing. The voice was a man's voice, and it was foreign. The voice was very deep.
I just love. Wait, read that again. But read it in an Indian accent. Yes, it needs to be like with no hesitation.
Come on. Oh man.
The voice was very deep and grainy. It wasn't very pleasant to listen to. And what did he mean? And what did he mean by shot? He couldn't mean with guns, could he? Oh my god.
This room is connected to the school's library. There is no one important in there. Kill them all. Anyone in the room.
I froze when I heard that. Mark. My mouth began to gape open. I saw it.
Hot.
I saw his face again, right in front of me. I saw his white teeth as he smiled. No, he couldn't still be in there. He just couldn't. That was impossible.
And as for you, I need you to do something.
To whom was he speaking? Who was it? I needed to know.
What is it? What is this? Whatever.
Excellent.
Do you want me to read it right?
It was the voice of Mrs. Vanderen. She was still there. What in God's name was going on? Of course I knew what was going on. I shouldn't want to think about it directly. I wouldn't think about it directly. Mrs. Vanderen must have accidentally turned on the announcements as the staff was joking around. Of course, that is what's happening.
It's a list of all the kids I need here at the front area. Once all the kids are here, you'll leave as if nothing happened. Now, we have two ways we can do this. We can do this the easy way or the fun way.
Easy way.
Fun way.
Easy way. Fun way. I think I choose the...
The way you read fun way was like, oh, it's sex. Like...
Easy way, fun way. I think I choose the easy way, but it wasn't my call. And what did he mean by fun way? This is like the things I see in the news. A bunch of men coming onto a school campus and shooting
Coming on a
everyone.
school campus?
Man, did you predict like the past like 2 years now already?
No, trust me, this was a thing when this was written. It's been a thing. Alright, but this clearly wasn't some random shooting. This was a kidnapping. They were going to try to kidnap us. Well, it sounded like only some of us, but it sounded just as horrific. No, that's crazy talk. That's not crazy talk. This is crazy talk.
That's such a great episode. God damn it.
We're just a little school in the middle of nowhere. Why would... Then I thought about what Richard said.
What if they come?
Big guy.
Then there was a complete silence for what felt like hours. I was completely mortified, and the only thing I could do was sit here. No one ran and hid screaming. Everyone sat quietly and listened. Then I heard laughing. It was the laughing of someone locked up in prison. It was something I had never expected to hear, and it was coming from Mrs. Vanderen. Then a voice finally appeared.
It seems you've chosen the fun way.
I gasped. The fun way? What was the fun way?
So much sexual tension.
By fun, did he mean fun for him or fun for us?
Fun for us.
I'm sorry. By fun, did he mean fun for him? Of fun for us? I was thinking he meant for himself. What kind of horrible things did this man think of as fun? I couldn't even think that way. But before I could even think about it more, she spoke again.
Well, mister, it seems like you have thought everything through. Everything except me. I guess I'm the nightmare that you didn't expect. I always thought people like you thought everything through. Guess not.
I have no idea what is going on in her head right now. If it were me, I would do everything he asked. I would never want to die. But it seems that she has a different approach.
Well, you see, I'm in a bit of a rush here. Why don't we all just do what we're supposed to do and get this done?
His voice had come back. I was surprised that he remained this calm in the situation. I guess he had trained for things like this, but she had a comeback of her own.
You think I care? You're never going to get what you want because I'm just as much smarter than you. And guess what? I have a surprise. Code red, code red, code red, code red, code red.
She began psychotically chanting it, but all I could think of was the fact that we were having a code red. We should all be screaming and hiding, but no one was. Everyone was silent.
Don't you realize that no one is going to hear you?
That was the man's voice. This made me totally realize that he had no clue that this was going over the speaker for everyone to hear. He had no clue that his secret plan was being foiled. Absolutely no clue. I'm sorry, you cut me off before I could finish all the great no clues.
Wait, I think he still probably had a clue. Are you sure?
But then there was a loud noise. Bang! The noise of a gun being fired. Then I heard a faint scream before the announcement was cut short. We all just sat there in silence. The kind lady that had said our announcements every school day was dead. Never to breathe the air of the living again.
That's such a creepy line. The air of the breathe, like there's air for the dead only. Like
Top 10 saddest anime deaths of all time.
It made tears begin to form in my eyes. But before I could even let one tear fall, panic fell over the school. Pure beauty. Art